One of the people I've been mentoring recently, he was doing $24,000 a month, and then he recently had a $400,000 a month. That's the type of they should teach in school. I was miserable, so miserable.
What do you have now? 90 million subscribers?
Across everything, we're closing in on 200 million subscribers.
Jesus! How did it evolve to what it is now? Was it a vision? Was it a slow, sort of a gradual increase in numbers? And
yeah, I mean, it's about as slow as it gets. When I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. And so for the most part, it was just like, I was just trying to scrounge money so I could buy equipment because I was using my brother's old laptop. And so like my first couple hundred videos, I didn't have a microphone. Like imagine just like crackly, terrible voice. And so once I got monetized, I saved up for a few months. Like I told you, I bought a microphone. I can just give you a mile high history. And I saved up for like 6 months. I mean, I was just doing video game videos, and they were terrible, but I saved up. I got a real computer. Yeah, it's been crazy because I've been doing it since I was 11. And
really?
Yeah. So now I'm 23. And so it's just like, basically every year it just gotten crazier and crazier. And I used to make $1 a day. The first few years I wasn't even making money off YouTube, but once I started making money, I was making $1 a day, and I saved up for a couple months. I bought a microphone, saved up for half a year, I got a computer, and I've just always reinvested it. And so it's like literally just all, I was like as awkward as they came, no money, no nothing, and I just basically just obsessed over YouTube every day for a decade. I hated school with a passion, but she forced me to go to community college, and that was the worst thing ever. Like that made me hate life, like borderline suicidal. I just can't stand like having to just sit there and listen to this dumb stuff and listen to some teacher read out a book. So I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't, and I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, yeah, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she didn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like I invested 18 years and this is what I get. No one, like people would have bet $1 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber. You know, it makes no sense. But I have, hyper obsession, and I love this, and given enough time, anyone can solve it.
Well, there's a lesson in that for people, really.
Especially if you're like extremely passionate about something at a young age, where most kids aren't, then it's more exacerbated that it's like, I didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like, I thought I was just like, just didn't even know how to speak. Like literally, I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube, and I would try to talk about something else. But back then I was so hyper obsessed that I literally just didn't know how to.
But what were you obsessed about? Were you obsessed about other channels, your channel?
Everything from like learning how to editing, the pacing of the videos, like ideas, what's going viral, what's trending, what's hot. Especially back then, I had no idea what worked. I mean, I had to like self-teach myself everything. Basically what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts, 1 was a high school dropout, and 1, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study, like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again.
Really? So you micro-analyzed
everything.
Really?
Yeah, just we were very religious about it, and so that's where most of my knowledge came from. Is I just surround myself with these lunatics, and just every day. But like you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from the mistake, they teach you what they learn. Stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker, if that makes any sense.
Do you have a lot of guys coming to you for advice? Like, yes. Hey, I want to be like MrBeast.
Actually, here, can you pull up my Twitter? I have something cool I want to show them. I mentor YouTubers a lot. You'll probably find this cool. One of the people I've been mentoring recently, he was doing $24,000 a month, and then he recently had a $400,000 a month. Yeah.
And what kind of advice are you giving someone like that makes such an exponential change in the amount of interactions you get?
The biggest thing is it's much easier, as weird as this sounds, it's much easier to get 5 million views on one video than 100,000 views on 50 videos. Does that make sense a little bit? Like, you could upload one great video a year and get more views than if you uploaded 100 mediocre videos. It's like, it's very exponential to funnel your energy better. It makes a big difference. So it's usually like, just like, don't make your video shit. Put in effort, like put in way more effort, like really hyper obsess over these videos. I've done podcasts where I've literally laid out exactly how to go viral, every little thing I know, and they're just sitting out there. And it's funny because people will listen to them and then like just explode on YouTube and make tons of money. And it's just kind of funny because it's literally just out there. And like some people will still pay hundreds of dollars for a YouTube course, because there are people listening to this who are probably a little bit younger that are hyper obsessed over certain things and probably feel like that. And I just surround myself with YouTubers and people that care about YouTube, so I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you just got to find those people that have those same obsessions. You know what I mean? Just like bringing that up for people to hear, because like I'm serious. That was like one of the just the things I just couldn't figure out growing up. I just couldn't find anyone that I related to, and I was miserable, so miserable. That's the type of shit they should teach in school. Like you should have classes helping you find what you love. Because like once you find what you love, you don't have to tell someone to like study. You don't have to force someone to do it. They just do it because it's like built in you. It's part of who you are.
I couldn't agree more.
Because I feel like that's just what holds so many people back. They're just doing shit they don't love.
100%.
Yeah.
But the question is like, is there enough passion projects out there for everybody to do what you do or to do what I do?
Well, the thing is,
to chase what they enjoy.
Because I did YouTube for no pay for years, and I did it making hardly anything. And
I did this podcast for no money for years.
Yeah,
this podcast cost me money for like the first 5 or 6 years that I was doing it.
Exactly. And so even if I was making minimum wage doing YouTube, I'd still be way happier than if I was making like 3 or 4 times minimum wage doing something else.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there is you now. But like in the world of this content creator on YouTube, it's not like there's like decades of history that people could study.
Exactly. And that's one of the hardest things. Like if you're trying to become like a great basketball player, get a mentor. There's plenty of people who have spent their lives like, an NBA players or college players at a high level. Get a mentor. Anything you're doing, if there's someone who, if you can get a mentor, get it. It's like cheat codes. It's like that guy that I took from 20 grand to 400 grand a month. Like, that would take him like a decade on his own. And I was just like, here you go, just do this, once a week for 8 months. And that's the thing. Yeah, for what I did, no one has done it. And so there's never any point where I could have a mentor that could help me. And I don't even know what you were saying that inspired this, but it is something that's like a pet peeve of mine. Like, bro, it's a mentor is a fucking cheat code. If you're in an industry where you can get one, get one. Like people, like a lot of people enjoy, if they're really passionate about what they do, they enjoy talking about it. They'll mentor you for free just because it's what they love.
But what's fascinating about a guy like you is you didn't have a mentor and you became one.
Exactly.
Like you figured the system
out.
And
my point would be like, if I knew what I knew now, like 3 years ago, I mean, I'd be on 500 million subscribers or whatever. Like my growth would have been so much more extreme. It's like knowledge is just so OP, and like that's I don't know. Just one of my things that I just really want to drill in your heads. It's like if you're in an industry where there are other experts, like just have them teach you what they just spent the last 20 years studying. Don't you go on your own 20-year journey. Like just learn from them, then start your journey.
You can learn so much from people that have already accomplished things. You can. But at some point in time, you also have to learn how to be yourself.
Agree. Yeah, you leverage it. You filter out the stuff you want to keep or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. There's nothing more valuable in life, in my opinion, at least entrepreneurial wise, than having someone like that.
And you're like, oh, this isn't working anymore. Let's start experimenting. Well, if you have a bad experiment, now you're in like a tailspin. You're nosediving.
But it doesn't seem like it's a sacrifice for you. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of your story is that there's obviously discipline and obviously you work hard, but it's love. It's a passion. You're clearly obsessed with this. Still, all these years in, top of the food chain, you're still guns blazing and constantly trying to add more to what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's pretty dope, dude.
I agree.